Hey, welcome. Welcome to the recording. Welcome everybody who's listening live. I'm so glad you're here with me in my bedroom on a Monday night. I've got two special guests with me that are right next to me in my bed. I've got Kayla and Elizabeth. They're also birth workers and they're mainly just here to hang out. But I told them that if they have a special story or something that they want to share, to please interject. And if you hear the door opening and closing, that's my husband being very inconsiderate. Just kidding. Okay. So I'm really excited to teach this class for a few reasons. I actually just taught it in person on Saturday, and I'll be teaching it again this coming Sunday in Lafayette if anybody's going. So if you were there in Ponchatoula on Saturday, I'm sorry that you're going to get a repeat. But the good news is I'm going to be recording this. So I know each and every one of you listening live right now is an Oil Sister or a Young Living member. And the recording will be available for you to share for anybody, even if they're not members. So hopefully they can get some education. So this is definitely the heartbeat of why I came. Hi, Stephanie. Why and how I came to Young Living in the very first place. So if you've been listening to any of the other webinars, you've gotten to hear bits and pieces of that story, but I'm just going to share with you now that, so in July of 2012 was when I got my starter kit. I went to visit my sister Harmony. She was living in Norway, and she is what I call like my research queen. And she, by the time I visited her, she had tons of oils and tons of testimonies. And my family, being already a very natural-minded family, we were all born at home. We used herbs and homeopathics and very, very rarely used conventional medicine. And I'm not even sure. I'm 27. I've been to the doctor twice in my entire life. But for us, essential oils were just not a part of our lifestyle. And so even though they're very, very old, if you watch that video in the intro, that they've truly been around for centuries, we didn't know them beyond aromatherapy and for stress relief. So it was kind of a new world for me. And like I said, my sister Harmony shared with me tons of just testimonies and stories. And neither of us knew that this would ever turn into a business one day, that it would ever become something that I did, full time alongside birth. We never dreamed up Oil Sisters. We didn't even know it was a business. But Harmony just told me, she said, I really think that you should do some research on these oils because everything I'm reading as far as Young Living goes says that they're safe for pregnancy, safe for breastfeeding, safe for newborns, and you can even use them at birth. And so when I visited her, I was just about to start midwifery school, and she encouraged me to get this book. This is Gentle Babies, written by Deborah Rayburn. We're going to talk about that in a minute. And I started to read it, and my eyes were just open to a whole new world, and I couldn't believe that this was real and that women had an option for healthy, safe alternatives. So I started midwifery school and became obsessed with oils. And next thing you know, I'm bringing oils to birth with me, and my clients are using them, and I'm seeing amazing wonders happen before my eyes. And it really fueled my passion for teaching people about them. Also, because I was bringing them to the hospitals, my oils and my diffuser, right off the bat, I was being asked by OBs and nurses what they were, how they worked, if they were safe. And so it definitely pushed me over the edge as far as research goes to learn more about essential oils. And I wanted to be prepared. I wanted to be able to go into a hospital and to be able to very confidently answer, to the healthcare providers, any questions they had. And I'm very proud to say that, yes, essential oils are validated in medicine. And yes, there's tons of research on them. And so now I've kind of somehow gotten this reputation of an oily doula. And that's what I am right now. I do doula births. I'm also an apprentice midwife and super close to getting my license. Thank the Lord. I have 2 births left, which is like a long time coming. My mom was also a midwife, so we come from a family, and my aunt. So we have a history of birth, and essential oils have just become an awesome part of that. So I'm going to move into this little disclaimer. And this is just a disclaimer that I give at every single class because it is important for you guys to know that the information shared tonight is intended for educational purposes only. Even though I am a birth worker and a healthcare provider, that's definitely not my intention with this webinar. I don't have a desire to diagnose, treat, cure anything, especially birth or pregnancy related. A lot of the things I am going to talk about tonight in order to stay compliant are the normal things associated with birth. And so for those of you wondering if this is a class that you're interested in teaching yourself, that's okay to do. So we're not really going to talk high risk tonight. We're just going to talk about those normal pregnancy things and those normal birth things. And if you do want to look into essential oils as an alternative, as a safe alternative for something high risk you're dealing with, please talk to your healthcare professional about that. So this is kind of a little outline for tonight. We're definitely, the bulk of what I'm going to go over is from this book, Gentle Babies. I want to cover why essential oils, why Young Living, and then we're going to go through the whole deal, pregnancy, birth, postpartum, and through the newborn and breastfeeding. So what's important, I want to say this gently, that it's very important the sources that you get when you're researching about essential oils for pregnancy and birth. It's a sensitive subject and it's sensitive to me. I would hate for someone to listen to this webinar and not be a Young Living member and to go find some cheap oil somewhere and use that and think that it's okay, and it's not okay. So I have very few limited resources that I trust. A little background on the author of this book, Deborah Rayburn. So in the world of aromatherapy, you have aromatherapists right here with the education that they have and the hours under their belt, and then you have master herbalists. So it's kind of like comparing, like say a nurse to a doctor. It's a lot more hours, a lot more intense as far as school goes and education. So Deborah Rayburn is a master herbalist. So a lot of things you'll read online are written by aromatherapists. And so for Deborah, she's many levels beyond that. She also is a naturopathic doctor. And this book is tried and true, written from her experience in her practice. So those are the resources I'm looking for, tried and true, research is behind them, and Young Living specific. And we're going to talk about that too. So thank you ahead in advance to all my moms that gave me permission to use their pictures throughout. And I know that if you are on this, you're probably prepared to see some. There's nothing super gory, but yeah, so this is my baby sister. Actually, every time I see these pictures, I just want to cry. It was like the happiest day of my life. I felt like it was me giving birth, which is silly, but okay. So this is my baby sister in both of these pictures. I had the honor and privilege. And you know what? Rude, Hannah, I don't even think you're on this webinar right now. But I had the honor and the privilege of delivering her baby, which really, I didn't do much except you can see I'm smiling. I'm like there back in November. And this journey of birth and essential oils has been an absolute blessing to me. And it's, I think, like life's biggest blessing that I get to call this my job. But I used many, many oils on Hannah, and she used many during her pregnancy. So what's so cool about just what I get to do as a birth worker is I get to meet people at like a window of opportunity. So many of my clients, maybe they weren't interested in natural ways, and they definitely weren't interested in essential oils before pregnancy. But through their pregnancy, something amazing happens. And it does happen to both the mom and the dad, but especially the mom, where I see them much more aware of their surroundings, much more interested in being educated on chemicals and toxins in the home. For the first time ever, you're making decisions for someone besides yourself. And so it leads you to just want to ask some questions that you've never asked before. And so I have this awesome opportunity to meet people in this state of just wanting to learn what's best for our family. And I get to offer them a really awesome opportunity through essential oils. So I always include this little meme, which I like, have a love-hate with it, but it says, I'll eat fast food, drink neon-colored energy drinks, and take all my prescriptions, but I need to research before I try lavender essential oil. I just think it's funny. I don't know, maybe you don't think y'all think it's funny? Okay. Because here's the point, and I call this the harsh truth. If any of you guys follow Oil Sisters on Periscope, you saw my video And I come from a place of love, but I really sometimes just want to take people and like shake them and say, wake up. Because did you guys know I have a study right here? It's just one of many. And this is from, actually, I'll cite all my resources at the end, but this is from drmercola.com or Mercola.com. And it's a study of 232 toxic chemicals that were found in 10 newborn umbilical cords. These toxic chemicals, this is just one of many studies, but these toxic chemicals were all considered safe for pregnancy because they weren't supposed to get to the baby. However, looking at the umbilical cords, they have. These toxins were coming through many, many things. So this study shares that 180 of these toxins were cancer causing, 217 were toxic to the brain and the nervous system, and 208 can cause birth defects or abnormal development. Where they came from were from plastic bottles, toys. They came from hairspray, shampoo, deodorant. They came from home cleaning products. They came from nail polish. They came from over-the-counters prescribed in pregnancy as safe for pregnancy. They came from air fresheners, and the list goes on. Many people, and not to say that that medicine and doctors can't be trusted or are bad. Absolutely not. Please don't walk away thinking that at all. My point is, in all the fields of medicine, obstetrics is the one that changes the most. And the reason is because I always tell my clients is that you are the ones that are the guinea pigs. They're not testing on, they can't test it except for on you to see what it does in pregnancy. So a great example somebody just shared at my class Saturday was Zoloft. Zoloft was a very common, it at first was not prescribed for pregnancy. Initially it was not, then it was later for nausea. And many people I know took it and it was safe. Thank you. Zofran. What did I say? Oh, what are you guys here for? You're supposed to help me. Thank you, Marissa. Zofran. Very common nausea medicine that just recently got recalled for birth defects. That's just one of many examples. So I'm not just talking about prescriptions and over-the-counters prescribed to women or marketed or targeted to pregnant women as safe. I'm also talking about toxins and chemicals in the home. So here's kind of my intro into why essential oils. So for those of you that don't know, I believe everyone on this webinar listening live does, but for those of you that are listening to the recording, essential oils are nothing but the plant. So they are extracted through steam distillation. And what's really important to know in all of this, and I want to say this like a million times in this webinar, is that not all oils are created equal. I do not want any of you guys, if you're pregnant especially, to go buy some random oil and say, I learned that it was safe, because not all oils are safe. Another great resource that I love is a book called The Chemistry of Essential Oils, written by Dr. David Stewart. He says that 90% of essential oils on the market are perfume grade. Okay, that's just for smell. There's zero properties in them that are beneficial to you. It's just purely for smell. In fact, they're probably very, very bad for you. Another 5% of oils on the market are food grade. And finally, the last 5% of essential oils on the market that are very hard to find are what we call therapeutic grade. It's not a marketing ploy. It's not a joke. It's something, it basically means what is therapeutic grade? So therapeutic grade, in order to be called that, number one, it can never have herbicides, chemicals, pesticides, any toxins at all whatsoever associated with the process. It can't be involved in the soil, in the harvesting, in the distillation process. It has to be from a non-GMO seed, an heirloom seed. It needs to properly be steam distilled as to not kill off the good in the plant, right? To not overheat it. So there's a lot of things that go into what is therapeutic grade. So you're taking a whole chemical structure of a plant and preserving it as it is in nature, not taking away, not adding to. That's an art and a science. And so we are blessed because Young Living is over 20 years old and comes from a founder who is a farmer who has really, truly paved the way and written the books on how to properly do this. So essential oils come from all parts of the plant, from the flowers and the petals and the steam. So if it's a citrus oil, it was cold pressed from the rind. If it's a resin like frankincense or say vetiver, then it was resin tapped. And then for the majority of other plants, they are steam distilled. So nothing but steam and water. Essential oils are often referred to as the lifeblood of the plant. And so really that just means that what blood does for us in our bodies is what essential oils do in the plant. And so they carry nutrients, they carry oxygen, they go to the aid of the plant when something is out of balance. And so what's so beautiful and amazing to me about this and just how God designed it for us is the chemical structure of an essential oil just so happens to perfectly match the structure of our blood. So that's why if you've ever been a skeptic of essential oils and used them and realized, wow, they work and they work really, really quickly, that's why. And if you've ever used an essential oil and put it in your hand, you've noticed that it's evaporated almost instantly. So it's instantly absorbed into the bloodstream. It's lipid soluble. It passes through the cell membrane and it works. It's very, very effective. So in the same way that you would use, hi, Erica, welcome. The same way that you would use essential oils in all everyday life is the same you're going to use in pregnancy. So my favorite though, of course, the physical, there's lots of ways to use it to benefit the body physically. But my favorite for birth in particular are how to use oils for the mind and emotions and a spirit. And if you've ever had a baby or gone through labor, you realize what an emotional adventure it is. And I've noticed a lot of times the midwife I worked with for many years used to call it emotional dystocia, meaning if a labor is very long and it doesn't have to do with the size of the baby or position of the baby and everything's just perfectly lined up and great, but yet birth is still very, very long, then let's talk emotions. Maybe there's an emotional thing holding us back. And so I've been able to see the effectiveness of essential oils in that sense many times too. Okay, so as far as history and science, we do have a really awesome recorded webinar called The Chemistry of Essential Oils. So if you want a deeper learning about how they work in your body on a cellular level, I recommend that you please watch that and listen to that recording by my brother-in-law, who's a geochemist. That's awesome, Angel. Yeah, anytime you guys want to add to what I'm saying or have a testimony or story, please share it. People will be reading in the chat room. So as I said before, and you guys watched that video, these are not new. As much as they're fad or seem like to be a big talk lately, essential oils have been around forever. If you are interested in reading some studies about the efficiency of them, these are two great websites that are government funded, third party. They are not Young Living's own studies. So you're not getting a biased study. So PubMed.gov is government funded. Literally over 15,000 studies if you just type in essential oils. Aries.com in particular is dedicated to the safety of essential oil use, topical and internal. And then finally, if you are a member of Young Living, you have access to Weil University and a new series of videos called Seed to Seal through your virtual office. I believe they're on the Young Living Vimeo account. I don't know if one of you guys want to type in the link. Yeah. But Seed to Seal we're going to talk about it. But if you've never been to a farm and you are interested in learning the steps, then those would be great videos for you to watch. So like I said before, Gary Young is the founder and or his wife, Mary Young, is the CEO of Young Living. And they founded this awesome company together. It started off as a mom and shop business, and quickly people realized that I always say essential oils are the world's best kept secret, but it's really, really, really grown and boomed in the last few years. There's an awesome biography written by Mary about Gary, and that's that book in the middle there. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to go back. I just remembered something. But that is a book all about the history of Young Living. He's known as the modern day father of aromatherapy. And then the picture on the left and the right are both blogs from Young Living that also talk about the history. I just wanted to show real quick. The picture on the right here is also from Young Living's blog. And maybe one of you guys can post that link too. But that is a really great series all about how oils were used in ancient times. So just, if you do want history. Okay. So we did talk a little bit about what makes therapeutic grade, but I really wanted to just quickly touch on Seed to Seal because, again, I don't want anyone to hear this, especially if you're pregnant and walk away thinking all oils are the same. So does anybody want to write in their own words over here what seed to seal is? And I'll just keep talking, but I'm going to check, but I'll check back and read stuff. But seed to seal is not, it's not a marketing thing. It's not a slogan just for fun. Seed to seal is what drives my love for this company, because it's the quality that they promise. And the quality that they promise is essential for pregnancy and for newborns. And you can't mess around with it. And it's not a joke. And Seed to Seal is Young Living's promise that they are in 100% complete control of every step of this process. So like I mentioned, planting themselves by hand that non-GMO seed, cultivating it at the proper time, distilling it properly without any chemicals. And then one of the most important parts of this is the testing. Did you know that every single batch of oil goes through 9 tests before it can be bottled? That's why when I read something online on blogs about some oil, that's not safe, that somebody found something in, I know it's fake because it can't pass through Seed to Seal. It is literally impossible. Every year, Young Living comes out with a percentage of their oils that they threw away because it didn't meet standards. Maybe it didn't have enough of a certain constituent, or too low of a percentage, or too high of a percentage, whatever the case may be. And they'll reuse it as a herbicide and a pesticide, but they will not bottle it. And that's why we deal with so many out of stocks. And then finally, they seal it. So if you want to learn more about Seed to Seal, after convention, I'll be doing a webinar just on Seed to Seal. Want to see what anybody else said.
Some are third party.
Yes, some are third party. Some of those tests are third party. Exactly. And that's huge, y'all, because there are companies that will say, yeah, we test our oils, but they do not test every single batch. And if they do, they test them themselves. They're not doing third party. Some people say that they test, but really it's just a random audit. It's not every single batch, and it's certainly not 9 times on every single batch. Yes, thank you. Here's a picture of just some of the farms. Let's see. I've had the opportunity to go to a few of these. I haven't been to Peru or France or Oman yet, but I hope to. And every single time I visit a farm, I'm reminded of, well, first of all, how hard it is to find a farm to meet Gary Young's standards. It can't have any pesticides or herbicides ever. And if he can't prove it, then he won't go there. So this is uncharted territory. Like literally these farms are in the middle of nowhere. They've never been anything before. He also tests for air quality and air pollution. So that's another reason why they're in the middle of nowhere. And I don't know if you guys know this, but Gary's founded many of our oils. We're the only people to harvest and distill, and I think name Palo Santo. No one else does that. There's a few oils like that. But I'm also reminded when I visited the farms of Young Living's commitment to stewardship, how they are not just going into a community and bulldozing through it. They're committed to making that community better. If you don't know anything about our Ecuador farm and our school there, I'd love to talk about it tonight, but don't think I have the time for it. But that's a great example of how they just make communities better. And they're also replanting. So a lot of these plants, for instance, lavender, we are keeping them around. We're keeping these heirloom non-GMO seeded plants around by harvesting and distilling them over and over again. Here's Young Living's promise to families, and I love it. It says, we believe that you and your family deserve products that are genuine, free of synthetic chemicals, and of unmatched purity. Seed to Seal is both a promise to you and a reflection of our sense of global stewardship. So you can rest assured, if you are using Young Living essential oils, that you are using the absolute best of the best, and that you have the promise that nothing that will harm you will ever be able to pass those tests and get into your home, which is amazing. So here's something that you need to watch out for, especially when you are just Googling essential oils in pregnancy. And this is one of the drives behind this webinar tonight, is to just hopefully give you guys just a little bit of insight into why you get so many opinions on the internet. But there's different models of aromatherapy. So the German model really focuses on inhalation, whereas the British model focuses on mainly massage, and so diluting oils for massage. And then the oldest model of aromatherapy, the founders of aromatherapy, and the heart behind Young Living, because Gary studied in France is the French model of aromatherapy, which incorporates all the ways: inhalation, topical, and internal. So this model was founded by French MDs, science, and chemists. This is only talking about those three ways, are only talking about what we mentioned before, the therapeutic grade. They must be the highest quality, properly distilled essential oils. So French model is not talking about perfume grade oils, just so we're clear. So Young Living, because they follow the French model of aromatherapy, that's why when I talk about the three ways to use these, I'm only talking about Young Living. This is a great quote that comes from an awesome book called Clinical Aromatherapy. And this is the reality, right? I gave the harsh truth earlier, which I don't even know. I didn't even give you guys my stats because I didn't want to scare anybody. But here's the stats for the real world, if anybody's interested. Anybody have an idea of how many drugs were recalled by the FDA last year in the last 12 months? Just ballpark. Don't cheat. More, Taylor. Good guess. Yeah. Over 2,000. Over 2,000 drugs were recalled in the last 12 months. How many of those that were safe for pregnancy? I don't know. Anybody know how many deaths a year happen from properly prescribed medications? Any guesses? I believe these are just US numbers. 300,000 in a year of properly prescribed medications. And I don't say this, again, to say conventional medicine is bad. Not at all. But that's the reality of the world that we live in. And yet, I still hear people saying, but is lavender safe for pregnancy? Do you know how many people have died from essential oil use? None. None. Essential oils are not killing people. Young Living is 21 years old and would not be around if oils were killing people. I promise you. So we are going to talk a little bit about safety of essential oils, but that's the reality right there. So if you are scared of essential oils or know someone who is scared of essential oils, I think maybe they just need a dose of the real world. Okay, this quote says, there are no records of abnormal fetuses or aborted fetuses due to the normal use of essential oils, either by inhalation or topical application. There are no records of a few drops of essential oils taken by mouth causing any problems either. So what does this tell you? This tells me two things. This tells me, number one, if you use common sense and use oils properly, you're not going to have any issues. And number two, it all matters the quality, because I can't promise you that synthetic oils are safe. I can't promise you that something distilled with hexane isn't going to cause anaphylactic shock, but I can promise you that a pure therapeutic grade essential oil that's nothing but plant is safe. And so when we're talking about the three ways today, aromatic, topical, and internal, I'm only talking about Young Living essential oils. Anything else I wanted to say? I did want to mention, I tried to show this video, but I couldn't. I couldn't get the link, but there's a movie coming out called The Secret. Oh, y'all help me. It's a new movie coming out, and they've shown two trailers. The Secrets of Ancient Oils. I'm sorry. If one of you guys can post a link. It's the trailer I showed. That's the trailer I showed in the beginning. But there's another video, and it says, is it possible to be allergic to pure essential oils? And it was a great little video, very, very short, scientific. And the answer is no. And here's why. Essential oils are aromatic, volatile, liquids. They contain no proteins or amino acids. And the definition of an allergy, or let's say an allergic reaction, is the inability to break down a protein. So if it doesn't exist in an essential oil, then there is no such thing as an allergic reaction. That's the simplest way I can put it. Yes, absolutely, there's such thing as skin sensitivity or a detox. And that's because if you're going to use essential oils, a pure essential oil, and that job of that oil is to help cleanse cells and receptor sites, and yet there's still toxins and chemicals involved, whether it's bad food or a bad environment, there is going to be a conflict there. So Danielle Keene, when she did our body systems talk, did a great job talking about the difference between, let's say, a reaction and an intolerance. So we're talking the difference between maybe a skin rash versus anaphylactic shock, which you're not going to see with Young Living essential oils. And I know there's no lawsuits against Young Living essential oils, which is over 20 years old. Thanks, Erica. You need to be careful too when you're using oils, when you're diluting with a carrier, that your carrier is organic. You can have a sensitivity and a reaction to a synthetic and a non-organic carrier oil too. So I just wanted to point that out. But we do have a lot more of other webinars that are recorded that can help answer these questions more in depth. So let's get to the real stuff. Nothing like a 30-minute intro, right? So I say all that to say, not all oils are created equal. And so now we're going to move forward with how to use these very safe Young Living essential oils properly. Okay, so first things first, before pregnancy, it is obviously important to have a healthy uterus. So I will say, if you haven't listened to our supplement webinar yet, please listen to it. Our Diamond Upline, Shannon Hudgens, is extremely knowledgeable. And these are the 5 supplements that she recommended every single person be on, no matter what. You know, if you're the healthiest person, doesn't matter. We all, in our day and age and the way that we do life, unless you're 100% raw, vegan, even if you are, we're still all lacking in something. So she recommends, and I do too, Ningxia Red, Master Formula, Life 5 Probiotic, and any of the digestive enzymes, there's 5, just any, and multigreens. That's for everyone. For all women, as far as just balancing the endocrine system, clary sage, these are all oils. Sclerescence, I don't know if you're familiar with sclerescence, but sclerescence is clary sage, fennel, and peppermint. Progestins plus serum, fennel, geranium, lady scleriol, and sage. Now, if you do have a specific need and you need some balancing in your endocrine system, these are the ones. And you're welcome, I meant to say this earlier, but you're welcome to take a picture of the slides as I go. And the reason why I do very vague slides is because I really want you to take notes, and I also want you to research on your own. So these are the ones that, if you've ever heard Gary Young speak, he says this quote all the time. He says, "I don't make product for profit. I make it for a purpose." So every single supplement that Young Living has and oil is for a specific purpose. So when you see specific needs here, like estro, the Prenolone cream, the Cortistop, Endodrize, Endoflex, Femigen, Thyromin, all those are for very specific needs. So I'm not going to have enough time at all to talk about that today, but please listen to the supplement webinar, and please research those options. And then also, in order to have a healthy uterus, obviously good nutrition, exercise, sleep, and de-stress. Oh my gosh, that's funny, Meredith. Meredith, I gave you sclerescence, huh? I remember I was right after she had baby number 3. Huh, Meredith, you smelled sclerescence on me and said, "What is that?" And I just gave it to you because you just loved it so much. I do want to share this resource. As far as balancing hormones, I highly recommend everybody reads this book. Can you read this? Taming the Dragon Within. There's an awesome protocol in the back, and I don't know, maybe we'll do a webinar on that one day. Okay, so oils to avoid, the gold question, the question I'm asked every single day of my life. This is a very short list probably than what you've found on the internet, and you've probably found longer lists on the internet for the reasons I mentioned before, maybe a different school of thought, a different training, or possibly just talking about not Young Living. But this is the short list that comes straight out of here that I believe is the most accurate. So basil, birch, calamus, Young Living doesn't even make a birch, by the way. Cassia, cinnamon bark, hyssop, Idaho tansy, lavandin, rosemary, sage, tarragon, and wintergreen. So lavandin is a synthetic version of lavender. However, Young Living actually harvests a plant called lavandin. There's an extra N in there. And it is a hybrid lavender, but Young Living grows and cultivates it, and it's not made in a lab. So sometimes you see that name lavandin, and you have to be careful, find out if it's a synthetic or not. So this is what Deborah says. She says that there are many times, or a few times throughout this book, that you will see those oils mentioned above, those avoid oils, as safe to use. And the reason is because that she puts these on the avoid list is historically there may have been instances where non-young living, non-therapeutic grade oils, so that were obviously of poor quality, may have caused a problem during pregnancy. And those are also maybe on that list because there isn't research by the FDA on them. So I would definitely do your own research, but I encourage you to read the Gentle Babies book because, like I said, even with these ones on the be careful list are also recommended for many things. So she says, really what you need to do is know that when you read an oils to avoid list, that it's all about quality and common sense. And that's what it comes down to. And I will say one of the biggest ones that people are so scared of to smell, to be near in pregnancy is clary sage. Well, I can tell you from firsthand experience that my sweet moms at 41 weeks will bathe in clary sage and nothing will happen. And the reason is because it's called intelligent discrimination, where the essential oil is much smarter than you and I, and it knows what the body and what the baby needs, and it's not going to force something that shouldn't be forced. And I recommend listening to the chemistry webinar to hear more about that too. Okay, so now on to a sweet pregnancy. So as far as a regimen, as far as a prenatal vitamin goes, you're going to be fine to use Ningxia Red alongside Master Formula. The two of those together have enough folate. And you really do want folate. You want something plant-based that's not synthetic. Folic acid is the synthetic version of folate. And when we put folate in our bodies, it's much, much easier to digest and absorb. I also recommend Life 5, Omega Gize, and the Pure Protein Complete. So now we're kind of going to go through one by one, just from our perspectives as birth workers, what we see works for these things. So like I said, it's a very vague PowerPoint. And so you're just going to have to take some notes or listen again. And if you guys don't mind, I kind of want to take my face off, if that's okay. I'll come back to you, but listening to my own voice talk this long and seeing my own face is we're just going to take a little break. Okay. So nausea. So this is, like I said, this is all the normal things that are associated with a normal, healthy pregnancy. It's very, very common to have nausea or morning sickness. So obviously the oils, they all want my face. The oils that support the digestive system and help balance it is peppermint, lemon, any of the citrus oils, tangerine, citrus fresh, using them bottom of the feet, VitaFlex points. I didn't talk about that tonight, but those are wonderful. And I recommend you Google VitaFlex points in the feet and the hands. Drinking these is another great way. Yes, Emily, definitely. I would do for a prenatal, I would do really the ones above. Ningxia Red, Master, Life 5, and Omega Gize would be like absolutely ideal. Totally. And bring them to your healthcare provider. Show them to them, and they can look at the labels and they can give you the go ahead too. Ginger is another great one that you can smell. You can rub on your VitaFlex points, on your wrists, on the bottom of your feet. All these, like I said, support the digestive system. Okay, now another common thing associated with pregnancy is fatigue or lack of energy, and that happens for many reasons. Again, the citrus oils. The citrus oils are great for balancing that melatonin in the body, and so they're able to be invigorating without causing, like energy shakes. They're able to provide focus. It's great for morning or mid-afternoon. Same ways. I'm just going to kind of repeat myself and say all the ways to use these, but you can drink them, you can diffuse, you can do direct inhalation by putting the oil in your hand and cupping it over your face. Peppermint is another great one for this. I also recommend Ningxia Nitro. Ningxia Nitro is a natural source of vitamin B12 and B6, yerba mate, and ginseng and green tea. So it's got naturally occurring caffeine, but not in a percentage that's not safe for pregnancy. So it's a great one to use for the occasional pregnancy fatigue. Okay, so I said head comfort here, and I'm talking about just a normal ache that you could have associated with pregnancy. I'm not talking about anything abnormal here. And so great options for that are grapefruit, ylang-ylang. Ylang-ylang is very, very balancing to your endocrine system. Peppermint. These are great to just get a carrier oil with and to rub onto the temples, the back of the neck, to inhale. If I miss questions, my awesome assistants are going to answer, or I'll just come back to it. So normal indigestion, that's associated with pregnancy because, as you know, it's very, very common to have acid reflux or constipation that could, that's associated with normal pregnancy. And so in order to promote healthy digestion, there's many things you can do. Digest is a favorite. Digest is a blend of oils. Peppermint, again, I've mentioned peppermint many times. Obviously, it's got a million uses. You can do a drop under the tongue or in a glass of water. Digest does not taste very good, and so you definitely want to, you could do that on the bottom of the feet. There's an awesome supplement that my little sister taught me about because she had, and I don't know if you noticed in that picture, but her baby came out with like a full wig on, and she had indigestion so bad in her pregnancy and asked me, what to do for it. And I told her all the tricks that I'm mentioning to you, and she said, none of these are working. I really don't want to use Tums. I don't feel like I have any other option at this point. So she, being very, very smart, looked at the Gentle Babies book, and the very first thing that was written under indigestion said alkaline. Alkaline is a supplement. To describe it to you, it's kind of like Alka-Seltzer. It's a powder. You put a tablespoon in water, and it tastes like Sprite. It's like lemon limey. It's great. In the morning, she would do it right before bed, which is when it got the worst for her. And she said it literally would work within 30 seconds. And so I highly recommend alkaline for that. So as hormones, as the relaxin hormone increases near the end of pregnancy and as joints open and the uterus expands and the baby grows, it's very common to have sore back muscles. And so there's lots of oils that can help just relax those muscles, open things up. Some of these oils are frankincense, copaiba, peppermint. You can dilute it and directly put it on the muscles that are aching and massage it. You can, you can get your Webster technique adjustment from your chiropractor for sure. Other great oils, Valor, Panaway, Deep Relief Roll-On, Aromaseas. All of those are great to use. Yes, bath soaks are great for sure. Okay, and so healthy skin and stretch marks. There's a few things you can do preventatively. Have any of you used the KidSense Tinder Tush? I know it's been out of stock, but that's a great ointment. Also, the rose ointment. Of course, the rose oil, but rose oil is very pricey, and so rose ointment is awesome. If you use rose oil, you only need a few drops, and you can add it to a bunch of carrier and make it last a long way. I also just love the Animal Sense ointment. It's got a lot of good things in that. So you dilute 1 to 3 drops of your oil of choice, and you can rub over your abdomen with a carrier oil. Those oils are Valor, frankincense, lavender. There's a great product that's great for old stretch marks that are from a past pregnancy, and that's the Prenolone Plus body cream, and also Gentle Baby oil is great for that. So for those, you can mix 1 to 2 drops of the Gentle Baby oil and add it to that body cream and apply it topically daily. And so when I talk about healthy blood pressure, I'm not talking about preeclampsia. I'm not talking about anything high risk that you should be getting medical help for. I'm just talking about maintaining a healthy blood pressure throughout your pregnancy. There's some awesome options for just keeping everything in check like that. And there's a great blend called Aroma Life. Aroma Life is a ylang-ylang, lavender, cypress, and there's one other oil and I'm forgetting. You can apply 1 to 2 drops on the heart and the inner wrist. You can inhale. You can apply it to the neck or the feet. I also highly recommend drinking at least 1 to 2 ounces of Ningxia Red a day. just to help maintain all of your body systems overall and just to boost your immune system and keep you healthy. Ningxia Red is an amazing product that is so important that I'm about to do a webinar just on Ningxia Red next week. And I highly recommend that you listen for that. Did I lose anything else? Good sleep. There's some great ones. I know sleep is important to a pregnant mama, and there's some awesome oils that can help just provide a sense of peace when you go to sleep. Some of these oils are cedarwood, peace and calming, valor, orange oil, tranquil roll-on, Roman chamomile, lavender, many options. Yep, sleep essence is a great one. That's a pre-made capsule with oils in it. And so if I had to choose 5 of my top 5 pregnancy picks, which that's really impossible, these are the ones I would choose: peppermint, lavender, lemon, frankincense, and valor. I put a star next to all the ones that come in the starter kit. And so if you are, sharing oils with somebody who's not yet a member and is pregnant, then really and truly starting with the starter kit is their absolute best option. So now we're going to talk about birth. Now, I love these pictures because they're oil sisters. Every picture in here is an oil sister. So thank you for letting me use your pictures. On the bottom left are Faith and Zach. And I mean, you won't even tell that this woman's in transition. Like, she might as well be sleeping. And then Marissa, who's listening in, this is her awesome birth. And there's lots of oil sisters in that picture right there. But what you can't see is there is a table behind Marissa with literally 100 oils for her birth on it. Sure, Emily, I'm happy to answer any questions at the end if you missed the top 5. But I'll just real quick go back. Peppermint, lavender, lemon, frankincense, and valor. Oh, Kayla is on it. All right. So let's talk a little bit about birth. So prodromal labor. Prodromal labor is also known as false labor or not necessarily Braxton Hicks, because Braxton Hicks aren't necessarily painful, but this is that labor that's very common with 2nd, 3rd, 4th babies that can sometimes scare moms, because although it's doing a lot of good, it may be toning the uterus, it may be the baby moving into a good position, it may be cervical change. It also can be scary if it does lead into something more. And so there are things that you can do for unwanted early labor that maybe the mom's not at her 37-week window and it's not a safe time to deliver. So I always recommend, obviously, being in touch with your healthcare provider. But a great way to just calm down those muscles are just Epsom salt bath with the calming oil of your choice. Peace and calming, tranquil, stress away, frankincense, lavender, rutavala if you really want to get serious. Electrolytes are really awesome. Staying hydrated, lots of water. Taking it easy, like really and truly, if this is a problem, your doctor might put you on bed rest. And so you don't want to walk yourself into labor in this situation. I always recommend avoiding the flowery oils, and the flowery oils are the ones, right, Meredith? Maybe when you're 37 weeks, you shouldn't go walk around Jazz Fest. Yeah, that was my fault. I almost put Meredith in early labor. The flowery oils are all the ones that our uterus just naturally tones to. And so those oils are jasmine, geranium, ylang-ylang. So if you really are truly having a problem with this prodromal labor, try to avoid those. It's not going to cause your baby to come out, but it will cause aggravating contractions where you can't sleep. And so other things that do these, just think about or research things that contract the uterus. So red raspberry leaf tea may cause this, evening primrose may cause this. So those are just other things to take into consideration. And so like I said, prodromal labor isn't always bad, but if you are afraid it's going to lead to something else or to real labor, then yes, try to stop it. Okay, so early labor. This is wanted early labor. This is when you're definitely in your window and you're safe to deliver now, and you are starting to have consistent contractions and you can tell that it's beginning to be something. we're just going to talk different things here. So first of all, if you're having any nausea or fatigue in early labor, or if you just are having, mood swings, like maybe anxiousness because you're nervous, start just right away diffusing joy, diffusing lemon or any citrus oils. Other favorites that my moms use for early labor are stress away, grounding, valor, frankincense, and Palo Santo. I know I'm talking really fast, but if you need me to repeat, just ask. Frankincense is a great one that just is very, very grounding. It helps create focus. I have a mom that I met on the Diamond Retreat, and her name is Krista Smith, and she has 15 children. And she told me, she said, the moment I find out I'm pregnant, I start rubbing Valor on my hips. And Valor is just great for just aligning in general, but it's very just supportive of emotions as well. It promotes courage, and it's very mood elevating. Also in early labor, to encourage dilation, you can rub and apply clary sage to the lower back. You can massage it around the ankle bone. You can massage it around the wrists. There's also a protocol for clary sage, that's in gentle babies, where you ingest 1 drop every 15 minutes until dilation begins. I would recommend putting a carrier into that if you don't want to burp clary sage up all day. Now for active labor is definitely real. It's hot and heavy. It's definitely not slowing down. It's increasing. And so here's what some of our favorites for that. Anything for early labor I missed that you guys would recommend?
Something that's relaxing.
Yeah, just something that's relaxing. Okay, so active labor. So clary sage. I diffuse this around the clock if it stinks, because oftentimes in labor, mom's sense of smell is heightened. Then go ahead and add some peppermint in with that, or some jasmine or something else, maybe joy. And this may help if contractions get stalled, if it seems that labor is not progressing. I always recommend for those instances where maybe we're avoiding, or if we have to talk about induction because labor is really, really stalled, maybe the body needs a rest and a break, and so you can go that route and offer oils that promote sleep. Or you can do clary sage and couple it with some nipple stimulation. Now we're getting hot and heavy here. And those are definitely going to contract the uterus. I always recommend Ningxia Nitro in active labor because it just is a constant supply of good, solid energy, even protein. And it's awesome for moms who are having a hard time eating, but definitely need to maintain their energy level. Deborah has an awesome labor blend in her book that she recommends you use only when you're already contracting. So it's not a blend that you want to use before contractions. So it's all those flower oils I recommended. So geranium, ylang-ylang, jasmine, also fennel, peppermint, clary sage. You can use fluorescence, helichrysum. You can mix all these with just put a few drops in an old oil bottle and mix in like a 1/4 ounce of V6 or coconut oil and just start to massage all over as soon as labor starts. Ankles, little toes, fingers, abdomen, back. Or you can take that mixture and put it in like a crock pot or a big bowl of water and make a cloth, like a washcloth blend, and rub it, put it on the back of your neck or inhale. So when we're talking active labor, especially during transition, I really want to pull out my big gun emotional oils here, the ones that help moms release, be able to relax, and be able to conquer their fears in birth. And there are so many options for this. I would start just by reading about the Feelings Kit. But some of the other great ones are Believe, Surrender, Release, Gathering, Valor, White Angelica. Those are just a few. There's so many more. Joy is a great one. If any of you that are on here have used oils in labor for emotional support, please comment if there's a favorite of yours that I didn't mention. So for any of these, you can just diffuse. You can take turns and alternate putting them on the bottom of the feet. You can put a drop or two on the chest, back of neck, base of spine. I always love to rub during transition a drop of Valor on the chest and the back of the neck. Yes, orange is good. Good one. Another great one for transition is brain power. You can apply 1 to 2 drops on the neck or the temples, or just hold a little cotton ball under the nose. I also recommend Energy. So Energy is spelled EN-R-GEE. This is not a blend that, I should say this too. If you plan to use oils in your birth, definitely try them out in pregnancy. Make sure that you like the smell, because you don't want anything to make you nauseous, or you don't want anything that's going to, make you have bad memories. You want to go through your oils and make sure that you like them all. But Energy is definitely a strong smell that not everyone loves. One of my friends, Sarah, says if you mix it with Joy, that it makes it, it's a great combination. But Energy is a great one to just apply along the spine or the feet, especially if you aren't liking the smell. Put it on the feet, put some socks on, and it's going to do its job. Any for active or transition I missed? I should mention one of our awesome tricks that sometimes can prevent a mom from having to get a catheter, because as you know, in labor, the bladder fills very, very quickly. And as the head comes down, sometimes it can pinch the bladder off, causing really painful contractions or slowing labor down. So what we do is we put about 3 drops of peppermint oil in the toilet, have the mom sit on top of it, and it opens the urethra and allows her to pee. So that's a great trick. You definitely want to have peppermint in the birth bag. So as far as delivery goes, you definitely want to have clary sage or ylang-ylang, which both help tone the uterus. You can mix these with a carrier oil, place them on the lower abdomen. You can do this right after delivery to help contract the uterus. I always, after delivery, put helichrysum and or Trauma Life on the bottom of the mom's feet. Frankincense is another great one, just to promote, to boost that immune system post-delivery. It's another great one to anoint the baby with. And trying to think, Dragon Thyme is another great one to rub on the belly once everything is done. Baby and placenta are out, rub Dragon Thyme on the belly.
Just put a blanket down on top of it before putting the baby on your chest.
Okay, Elizabeth says just make sure you put a blanket on top of your belly before putting the baby on your chest so that the baby is not covered in Dragon Thyme. Good job, Elizabeth. Okay. Here's Elizabeth. So this is what I carry in my doula bag. I really carry like a million oils, but these are the most important. Clary sage, frankincense, lavender. I don't know why peppermint's not on this list. Peppermint, helichrysum, and or Trauma Life, and Stress Away. I really carry many more than that. And look, there's your little asterisks. 3 of those are in the starter kit. And this is Elizabeth with my birth bag and our Rebozo. What'd you say? And what? And the diffuser, yes. Oh, Elizabeth again. Elizabeth, will you come sit by me and share about your protocol that you did postpartum to encourage bonding?
Bonding?
Yes.
Well, okay.
Hold on 1 second.
Can they not hear me when I'm sitting over here?
No, they can't. So, this is the microphone right here. Here's Elizabeth, guys.
Hi. Okay, so, all right, when I found out I was pregnant with number 3, I mean, come on, guys, I was a little scared. So I decided to start my protocol for bonding when I was pregnant. So I started diffusing Joy, and then I did that during labor as well. So after labor, I went ahead and moved into using Progestins Plus, and that really helped with bonding. With my other kids, it was super hard to bond with them, but Progestins Plus and Joy was a great combo. Didn't have any problems with postpartum issues like my other ones. So yeah, definitely recommend Joy and Progestins Plus for postpartum.
Perfect.
And Joy for
Isn't she beautiful in this picture too?
Oh my gosh.
This is like literally 10 minutes after birth. Why does her hair look like that?
I don't know.
She looks amazing.
On fire.
Okay, so perineum care. And I'm just going to go through my notes so I don't miss anything. So postpartum, especially if you had any trauma to the bottom, Y'all, I don't know if you know this, but Mary Young invented something for birth, and it's called Clariderm spray.
Color.
Yay! So, Clariderm is not really marketed for birth at all. It's just a great one for skin, but if you can get your hands on it, hopefully if you are on ER, it's something you can get for free because I know it's pricey. I always recommend my moms put it on the back of their toilet, and whether they tore or not, to just every time they pee, spray their bottom with Clariderm just to encourage the recovery. Another thing that Deborah recommends for perineum care is adding just 1 drop of Melrose to like a big peri bottle of water and shaking it up. And same thing when you pee and just squirting it down there. It's a very cleansing oil. It's kind of a sister oil to tea tree. Yes, your bottom will thank you. Another thing you can do as far as like making a sitz bath postpartum, I always love just good herbs. They're so comforting and healing, but also you can add 2 drops cypress and 2 drops lavender to a half a teaspoon of either Epsom salts or a good organic sea salt, and mixing into a bath of water and soaking in that. Also, helichrysum is just a great one to have postpartum. And then as far as sore bottom goes, this is also kind of just one of those normal things associated with post delivery, just the sore bottom, however you want to call it. And Deborah does have a few recipes for hemorrhoids in her book. Now, one of the recipes calls for peppermint. And I'm not going to tell you to do that because I want to be your friend. But I've had lots of people do it. And while it works, it's very uncomfortable. So in that blend is 2 drops helichrysum, 2 drops geranium, and 2 drops cypress. And so you can take those and put them, a lot of people will put them like in an old oil bottle with a carrier and either get a, what is it called? A dropper top, or put it in your peri bottle. But there's many recipes in the book. That's just one of them. And so Elizabeth did talk about bonding already, but there's a few things you can do just to encourage that right away postpartum. Oh, right. How could I have not mentioned that Erica loves frankincense for her bottom? Loves it. Okay, so encouraging bonding with the baby. That's very common after having a baby. Diffusing joy around the clock. Like I keep mentioning over and over, the citrus oils that are really good for just their mood elevating. So lemon, orange, tangerine, citrus fresh. Valor is another great one that you can apply to the pulse points and chest and back. Orange is kind of known as the happy oil. So I really think that's a good one to have postpartum. It's super cheap. You can also generously use lavender and stress away to increase feelings of well-being. Yes, did somebody have a question?
Dissolve stitches.
Dissolve stitches?
Yeah.
So you definitely want to get, who asked that? Ashley. You need to get there's lots of different types of stitches, but if you're using a carrier, you should be okay. In diluting it. So if you're just using an oil and water, then yeah, you should be careful. But if you're diluting it, it should be okay. I hope that answers your question. But yeah, essential oils definitely have the ability to do that. Okay, breastfeeding. Let me see. So there's a few things you can do as far as increasing milk supply. And so the way essential oils work, if you listen to the chemistry webinar about intelligent discrimination, you use them until you get the result you want. And when you get the result you want, you don't use them anymore. It's just very different from other ways of using things. So when you want your milk to increase, you do a protocol. And when your milk increases, you're done. So some of these oils are basil, fennel, and clary sage. And so those can be done. Deborah recommends using fennel in a spoonful of honey a few times a day until milk increases. I know some of my moms will drink like a little tiny bit of Guinness or just hops, just getting hops. Also, there's the reason you hear about like breastfeeding cookies is because the oats have hops in them too. You can be very careful for peppermint. I know a lot of my moms use peppermint no problem and see no change at all with breastfeeding. However, I have had a few use peppermint and see a little decrease. Now, as soon as you notice a decrease, just discontinue. It's not going to dry it up forever. There's also things you can do to promote healthy ducts. And so when your milk ducts get full and clogged and they're whatever the cause may be, there are things that you can do to help soothe that. Oils like lavender, Melrose, I already mentioned, geranium. You want to dilute these. You can rub these around the breast. The beautiful thing about this is the baby's not going to like the taste of lavender, but if it does touch it or lick it, it's going to be just fine. But you can use them between nursing and then wipe away with the carrier oil. Never wipe away oils with water. Water just intensifies it. And so a carrier oil will bind to the essential oil and pull it away. You can also make a compress out of these oils for your breast by dipping a washcloth and applying a cold compress as needed throughout the day. Okay, let's move on. So these are my new mommy must-haves. If I have to choose a few: geranium, joy, lavender, Melrose, and stress away. Any other ones I'm missing that you guys are like, you have to have? Progestins Plus, okay. And
it's on there. Oh, it's the bottom.
Progestins Plus, okay, there you go. And now for a happy newborn. These are not my babies. I don't have babies. These are twins that I got to be at their birth a year, 18 months ago. And how cute is our little sister right there? Okay, so I'm just going to take away my face again. Okay, so umbilical cord care. There's a few things you can do for this. Normally, if everything's great and there's no sign of anything going wrong, just leave it alone. But if you do notice something, you can do myrrh, which is very gentle. You can dilute a drop of myrrh to a carrier oil, but it's really not necessary. It's very gentle. Frankincense is another great one, especially if there is something going on. You can just use the frankincense diluted around the belly button or on the belly button. Other awesome ointments that are safe for babies are rose ointment or the animal sense ointment. So animal sense ointment is really a one catch-all for like the whole family, because you can use it for your pet, for your bottom, for your belly, for your baby's bottom, for your baby's belly button, everything. So lots of options there for umbilical cord care. Bonding, we already talked about. I don't know if I mentioned Gentle Baby, but that's a great oil. Gentle Baby and Joy are very similar in the blends, so either one of those. Healthy skin. So if you're just wanting to see your baby with that good, healthy color, you can put some dyes on the feet, diluted. You can use lemon, geranium, or orange. You can do a drop of any of those oils diluted with 2 to 3 drops of a carrier oil and apply it to the bottom of the feet 2 to 3 times a day or as needed. You can also go outside and get vitamin D in the sun, and you can nurse, and help the baby get that good, healthy skin. Okay, so must-haves for a newborn are lavender, Gentle Baby, frankincense, orange, and Roman chamomile. Any other ones you would say are must-haves for baby that I didn't mention? Cedarwood. Cedarwood is a really good one. Lemon. Okay. So what's so cool to me is many of the oils that I just mentioned are in the starter kit. So starter kit is obviously the best bang for your buck, especially if you aren't a member and you're pregnant and you're interested in using these during your pregnancy and beyond. Obviously, there's some other products and oils I mentioned outside of it, but for the most part, that really is the best way to go. I truly believe if you went to a baby shower and gave a mom a bottle of lavender and that Gentle Baby's book right here, that you are now her new best friend instantly. If you are pregnant and you are making a wish list of all the things you want to have at your birth and postpartum, and you don't want to break the bank, I highly recommend getting on Essential Rewards. The reason is you can spend as little as 50 PV a month, which is pretty much $50 a month, slowly build up your supply over your 9 months, and then hopefully by the end of your pregnancy, you've had built up enough points to get some of those pricey things for free, whether that's Ningxia Red or Helichrysum or Trauma Life or Rose or whatever it may be. With ER, you get free product. And so if you already know a ton of things that you're going to want for your baby, then that's the way to go. And then this is just a little chart at the bottom, the percentage that you get back. So if you're on Essential Rewards For 1 to 6 months, you get 10% of your order back in points, and points are usually equal to $1. 7 months to a year, 15% back. And then me, after a year, I've been on ER 2.5 years, you get 20% of your order. So that means when I spend $100, I get $20 back. So that's amazing. And finally, these are the resources from today. Like I said, I mainly am getting this information from Gentle Babies, which I believe is a tried and true Young Living specific resource that I can trust. Chemistry of Essential Oils by Dr. David Stewart. Dr. Mercola and Scientific American is where I found the studies on the umbilical cord studies and the studies on recalled drugs and those things. PubMed.gov and Aries.org, and then of course my experience as a birth worker. So if anybody has questions, I put this. I don't know why I thought it was going to take me forever to do, but I also haven't answered a single question. So I'm going to give you guys time to ask me, Elizabeth, and Kayla questions, because you've got 3 birth workers here that are ready to help. So any questions you have, and if you don't have any questions, thank you so much for listening and being here. And even if you're not pregnant, please share this information with a pregnant friend, because they will love you forever. Anybody need me to go back to any slides? You're welcome, Meredith. Oh, Sydney. So Sid, I'm going to show you this pregnancy. Where am I? When we talked about the normal aches and pains associated with pregnancy, because it's just going to happen. There's so many to choose from that can just help relax muscles and support muscles. You're welcome, you guys. So whether that's aromases or Valor or Panaway or Copaiba or frankincense. You're awesome.
Maybe a chiropractor.
A chiropractor, a good adjustment with the Webster technique for sure.
Yeah.
Marissa, this is going to be recorded. So in about 3 hours, we'll have the recording up and you can have it forever and ever. Amen. Angel, I wish I could have been your doula.
I used orthoes.
Good, Paige. I'm glad. You're welcome, Lyra. No, Sydney, you're not growing indefinitely. You're awesome. Yeah, I have had a few instances where nurses have kind of gotten on my case about the diffuser, but really it's the mom's call. And so in that birth, it's what she wants. And if you really absolutely are discouraged to use a diffuser in the hospital, you can always do washcloths and cotton balls or diffuser jewelry. Okay, yeah, Morella, there's some awesome ones for emotions that we talked about to help you just really be able to stay focused and relax, and hopefully help you to breathe deep. So you right now in your pregnancy want to be able to find that oil, that relaxing, the one that promotes rest oil, and the one that calms you, and be able to have that ready to go for labor. Yeah, Angel. Yeah, I like that plan. Thank you, Meredith. Meredith just shared Sydney what she used for her sciatic, vetiver and geranium. That's really good. You're welcome. Yeah, Kelsey, as far as preparation, right, because I didn't talk about the man at all tonight. I only talked about the woman. I recommend the Taming the Dragon Within book for you, and those supplements for everybody. I'll go back to that. Just anyone and everyone. That is, let me find it. Ningxia Red, Master Formula, Life 5, Digestive Enzymes, one of them, and multigreens. Those for everybody. Sure, Amber. There's some awesome oils for postpartum. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stop the recording. So thank you, everyone, for listening to the recording. Please contact oilsistas@gmail.com if you have any questions at all about this presentation. All right, see y'all later.